Look at me. I even hit the button on time tonight. How about that? Hey,
That's
welcome.
new. That's new.
Welcome back to Total Spotfest. Look, we got a returning Austin Reddick with us here.
Howdy.
the soon to be higher educated Austin Reddick, congrats on doing well on your GMAT test, Mr. Reddick.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Slap the hands, yeah. I don't know what we're doing here. JJ over here, Jamie's over there. Oh man. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. If you are here with us live, hop in the chat down below. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Total Spotfest. How the hell are you two doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm not doing math for several hours every night like I was all last week. So that's pretty nice. Also, just like through studying that, I now have a regained understanding of some math concepts I forgot, which will never come up because they haven't since I left school. But
yeah,
it's kind of nice to know again for a little while. But yeah, I'm definitely good to be more or less done with that kind of math.
I mean, those crazy tests too. It's the point too where you could overstudy, where it's like you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I know this well enough. If I keep going, I'm gonna just get burned out. So.
Yeah, and like the weird thing, and I get they're just like you gotta know this stuff pretty well, but it's always weird when it was like 31 questions, 65 minutes. You get about 2 minutes a question, and I have a hard time doing math fast because like I like to be thorough with things. So doing math under like a time frame is weird to me. And it's a weird thing to test because when will that ever come up? I'm not training to go on the space shuttle where like a critical calculation might mean life or death. I will never have to do math with any kind of expediency, but they want to make you test it to get into grad school. So what are you going to do?
I mean,
I'm gonna start making people solve math riddles before I lock up.
I mean, Jamie, you do math quite a bit throughout the day just because of what you do in our company, you know.
Yeah, I've always been a quick math whiz. Like I got division and multiplication, within like 3.
That stuff's easy. Yeah,
within 3s, right? Algebra is like the devil to me. I think it's really? Satan itself. Yes, but geometry and trigonometry, all day because it's logical. It makes sense. Like
the geometry problems. Even though I did fairly poorly on the math part, I think I did well in all the geometry problems. Like if I could just stare at something, because it's either geometry problems or the word problem ones are always good for me. Like if you could put it into a story, I'll follow along, put up an equation, get that figured out. But if you just throw numbers and letters at me, like, why do I need to figure this out? Let me know why I'm doing this first. And then I'm bought in and I might give it some effort.
I see. My favorite was calc. I loved calc.
Dude, no, thank you.
I'm a nerd like that, though. I don't know. I get it from my father. Certainly, math was always my science can never do. Like, you give me into like a chemistry class, I'm lucky if I get a D, right? I'm not good. Biology, no.
Chemistry uses tons of math formulas. I
know. Physics too. I took physics my sophomore year in college. First half of the class, aced it, nailed it. It was all math, and then they brought in like theories and shit, and I did not do well that second half. I barely scraped my way out with a passing grade, just enough. It was like, can I just go back to numbers and stuff? Let's go back to numbers. What's this stat? I'll do stat. Let's do stat.
I was a history major. So fuck that. Like, I'm done.
Major, so yeah, I had some. I had just a little bit. But.
I was gonna be a high school football coach. That's what I was gonna do. Yeah, that's my dream job.
And now you work with software data. How about that?
Yeah, I'm a softball coach, so at least I get the coaching. I get to yell somebody.
Here. There you go.
Well, Austin Reddick, future accountant to the wrestling stars. I don't know. Probably not, but congratulations either way. And I hope you had a good Halloween as well. Everybody that's been here gearing up for Thanksgiving. I know night before Thanksgiving, if you're going to be in Denver, you should go watch one Austin Reddick and one Heidi Howitzer do some wrestling over in Denver at Triple L. I don't know if there's any tickets left. I don't know why I'm even promoting this show, honestly.
There's some, but Triple L has sold out for several shows in a row. So if you are going to be in Denver, which I highly recommend going to the show if you are, do not wait until the last minute because it always sells out within a couple days before the show. So especially the Thanksgiving show. That's like their big show every year.
Big show. Plus, we've got Austin Reddick getting beaten up by Masha Slamovich, so that's going to be great to watch.
Wow, you're just putting them out there, just burying your co-host.
I love you, Austin, but it is Masha. You know, he might have a shot. We never know. You never know in wrestling. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You never know. Anything can happen.
The returning Maki Ito going up against was it Stormy Michelle?
Stormy Renee.
Maki Ito, Stormy Renee, and Lilith Grimm in a three-way match.
Yeah. And Heidi Howitzer defending her title. Just the main title, I think. She still has both, right?
So
the unified.
Oh, it's unified
the toughest woman in Colorado title does not exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
But the physical belt does reside in our house, and I have been joking for months that I'm just gonna start entering at Triple L with the Colorado's toughest woman title.
Do it.
That would be so good.
That is awesome. Heidi's defending against Effie, so that'll be. I mean, and more besides that, of course. Shows are hella fun. If you've never been to a Triple L show, it's definitely a promotion to make it out of your way to go see one. They are fantastic. Such a great atmosphere. The mixture of the live commentary, which is so rarely done, I think now in indie promotions, comedy in the middle of it. As long as you didn't have that one comedian we saw that one time, don't bring them back ever again, please. But other than that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the promoter of Triple L is very smart about things like that. Like if a comedian bombs, they're not coming back. Also, before we get off Triple L, one more match on there that I do want to point out: Royce Isaacs versus Lipto. Some of y'all might not be familiar with Lipto. He mostly wrestles around Denver, comes out to Kansas every once in a while. But I think that one's low key going to be one of the best matches of the night, and it's going to be awesome to finally see Lipto get a singles match against someone with a little bit of a name behind him.
Yeah, Royce definitely has that. Faux show.
All right. So Dynamite happened a little bit ago. We're going to get in that in just a little bit. Not only was Austin cramming for his GMAT last week, but he also got to go to an AEW show in his hometown.
I did. I finally got to see AEW live for the first time, and it was a solid experience. And I figured it'd be a good time to drop a little bit of knowledge about my time at AEW.
Let's go. It's stash knowledge time, y'all.
I had my fake mustache still on my desk, but I think my cat took off with it.
That would be great. That would be great. But yeah, so like I was saying, first time I've ever got to see AEW live and in person. Right off the bat, just as a whole in general, even though this Collision was pretty much a straight up B show, they left a lot of the bigger names that normally appear on Collision at home. It was still an entertaining night of wrestling, and the night and day difference between going to AEW TV and going to WWE TV is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
This still felt like you were at a wrestling show, not like you were at the taping of a TV show.
Right.
It flowed so well from start to finish. You get very few commercial breaks in between matches or segments. And when it does, like they got someone out there talking through it, or the guys stay out there a little bit late to do some extra stuff in front of the crowd. But yeah, it was a very pleasant experience. I got to see them tape some Ring of Honor before and after. Part of the before tapings of Ring of Honor, if you didn't see it on Twitter today already, was Miss Heidi Howitzer going one-on-one with Ring of Honor champion Athena. So that was pretty rad. She got to make her Ring of Honor debut, wrestling against the champ with Kansas City favorite Billy Starks out there as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty rad. Two big things I noticed that I specifically want to do a stash of knowledge on this. The first one, I've seen a lot of people complain on the internet about how many nostalgia acts AEW has on TV. But every nostalgia act they had got as loud of a pop as anybody else on the roster the entire night.
I mean,
Big Show, they lost their shit for. The biggest pop of the night was during the 6-man with the Acclaimed and Dalton Castle and the boys, where Billy Gunn starts the match in his tank top and shorts, and the crowd just starts chanting, "Take off your shorts." And he finally does. And that was the loudest reaction of the entire night. And there were plenty of loud reactions throughout the night. That wasn't like nothing else was good. Yeah, he was super over. It was wild. It makes me understand more why they always have them out there, because the crowds love them. And as long as they're not taken away from the show, you got Christian doing some of his best work, which I wish Christian would have been there. That would have been pretty cool. You got Jeff Jarrett just stepping up and eating a pin every time he needed to. The nostalgia acts are phenomenal. Oh, the other one was Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes got one of the loudest pops of the night as well.
Yeah.
And if y'all didn't happen to see Collision, one of my favorite moments of the night was Keith Lee standing on the apron through the entire 6-man tag, tagging in to pop-up powerbomb one guy and tagging back out for the win. That man knows how to work, brother.
That's fantastic. We're talking
but
about
the
Keith
other
Lee.
thing I noticed, and this is something I wish AEW would work on a little bit more, not that it's not enjoyable more often than not, there's just a severe lack of actual bad guys on the show. Like, Emi Sakura was about the only one out there literally trying to make the crowd not like them. Swerve and AR Fox had a very fun match, did some really cool spots, but the crowd didn't want to boo Swerve because everyone likes Swerve. He's got the cool dance. He can work his ass off. He's cool as shit. But that was the one thing I kind of noticed throughout the night. You just don't get a lot of people that actually get boos. And I think the crowd, while they popped really hard for like all the spots and moves you'd expect them to, they kind of died down in between the rest of it because they weren't really rooting for someone against someone else. They were just cheering for the cool shit, which was still fun. It was awesome, but
Yeah.
I wish there was a little bit more heat in AEW.
Do you feel like, take it as, and here's a question on that. Do you feel like things like moving MJF to be face and basically just keeping the Don Callis family, or just Don Callis, and Christian Cage is the only two like actual heels in the company, do you feel like that's just kind of like, because I mean, you talk about that lack of heels. MJF was that heel, and he got heat, right, for a long time. Now he's face. There's nobody there to kind of take his place in it. If they make Adam Cole heel, people are still going to love Adam Cole because he's Adam Cole, right? Mm-hmm. Just like with Swerve, same sort of thing, right? So you need people to be despicable, or is it just like an old school thing, or is it just kind of the way wrestling is now? What do you think?
A little bit of all of the above. Because again, it doesn't make the product bad. I just think it would make the product better if you had more people to cheer against, like more people you just didn't like. Because AEW is not devoid of heels, like you were saying. Christian, everyone knows Christian's doing some of the best heel work in the history of pro wrestling right now. Don Callis gets all that kind of heat, although Don Callis doesn't seem to really transfer that heat onto the guys underneath of it.
No, only like, Sammy, and that's just because Sammy.
That's because no one likes Sammy in the first place.
Sammy gets the heat. Well, that still works.
He gets X-Pac heat.
That's still
heat.
He gets heat. Is heat.
Go away heat isn't the same. You don't cheer the baby face harder because you want the heel to go away. You cheer him hard because you want the heel to get beat up. But like, we just don't want to see Sammy at all, not just him get beat up. But yeah, like, Hobbs is still super cool. Takeshita's still super cool. Like, and it's not like they're going out there necessarily trying to. It's just this weird dynamic where there's not many people that they allow to. It's not even allowed thing that they like encourage to go, kind of like MJF was for the longest time, like truly be a heel and be unlikable.
Right.
But yeah, it was just something interesting. I was like, yeah, during a lot of the matches, the crowd was dying down a lot because they weren't like really behind the baby faces. But I mean, they were still super hot for all the cool moves, all the funny stuff, like all the stuff you normally would be hot for. You just kind of lost it in between.
So I think AEW, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, I think their biggest problem is they have too many tweens.
So many tweens.
Yeah.
And as a lover of tweens, like I am, I can just sit here and honestly say to all the folks at home, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. There are too many. They're literally like these people who ride the line, where they're a dick, but everybody loves them because, like, perfect example, Daniel Garcia. He's supposed to be a heel, but he does the dance, so everybody loves the dance. So then they in turn love him, and he doesn't get the boo reaction. But then conversely, you have the Guns. The Guns, like, we're gonna talk about the Guns, like what they did tonight, because like they're at a different level now for me because they finally separated. And the Acclaimed started off as heels, and they started doing the rap, and then they started doing the stuff, and then everybody started loving them, and they became tweens, and now they're super faces. Like, everybody can't live in the middle. And I think that is what's going on, is they have so many people living in the middle. And Heather's absolutely right. More than not, AEW fans are there to see good wrestling.
Yeah.
And they're going to cheer good wrestling. But
they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you can still get really good wrestling from guys that are making you boo and hate them.
Yeah.
It's just there's less of that. And like, I don't begrudge the talent for if you can do something that gets over and gets you cheered, like you're making more money, you're selling shirts, you're getting spots on the card. But like you were saying, they've got too many people in the middle, and too often it's just people in the middle wrestling each other, and you don't get as much that classic good guy, bad guy, which you can absolutely do with great wrestling at the same time.
I think you can. I think you take analogies from other sports, right? I know team sports is everybody's their own team, but you look at the Brady Patriots, right? If you weren't from New England or Boston, specifically, they were the enemy. They were the evil empire. Same thing with the Yankees before them in baseball for all those years, right?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs have become that for those non-Chief fans. I mean, but yeah, it's always and what happens is you tune in because you want to see them lose, right? You want to root against them. It's the same sort of thing here. And if you're just going in for good wrestling, you're going to get it. Cool, right? But you get more invested, more emotion when you've got that more emotion involved with it. If you expel that, you're going to get more back. I mean, shit. When we were kids, we can remember this. We were. You might have been a twinkle in your mother's eye, Austin. But when Jamie and I were kids, we were talking about. I remember talking about this the other night with a buddy of mine. Is one of the best like heel moments, storylines that I remember from my childhood was the Macho Man Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth, Jake the Snake Roberts plotline, and Jake just was just the heeliest of heels, and the way he went about it. What's up, Rob?
What's up, big Rob?
That's the sort of thing that you don't see in this day and age. And I know it's a different wrestling world, right? I get it. But like, how invested were you in a story that had no title implications whatsoever, right? Was technically in the mid card for WWF at the time, right? It was by far like the best story they had going that whole year. Stuff like that. We just maybe we're past it. Maybe we're in a world of tweens now, Jamie.
I want there to be a clear line and have like a handful. So in the glory days of WWF, then turned WWE wrestling, this thing called the Attitude Era, they had 3 tweens, and then you had your bona fide heels and your bona fide baby faces, and you had 2 or 3 guys riding the line, and that was it. And now it's like you have 2 or 3 guys on either side of the fence, and then everybody else is right down the damn middle. Ugh.
Joe's a very good take on that, Heather. I'm gonna put a pin in your comment. We'll be back to that for sure.
Yes.
So, Austin, was this the first wrestling? Like, this is the first wrestling show you've gone to as a fan in a while, right?
A couple years. When we first moved to Denver in 2018, WWE rolled through with a house show like that March that we went to. And that was actually a really good time. Like, I've always enjoyed the WWE house shows.
House shows are better than tape shows.
Absolutely. Because they get to go out there and just wrestle for the crowd. That one had Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal in a Denver street fight. And it was the most fun, like WWE tame hardcore. Like, you got some tables, chairs, kendo sticks, like your basic shit. Nice. Babyface goes over, everyone's happy. The main event was Roman Reigns and the Usos against Mysterio, Dominic, and it might not even been Dominic. Oh no, it was Mysterio and the New Day. And they worked like a 20-minute 6-man tag, mostly on the fly, and it was phenomenal. Like, great time. But yeah, those are the
always yes to
that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then earlier this year, because Heidi wrestled on TJPW's USA show, Mania weekends, I flew with her out to LA. That's and right. She had that in the afternoon, and then we went to the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that night with Claudia and Eddie in the main.
Okay,
that was a good time too.
Okay,
so yeah, I've actually been to more shows as a fan than I realized recently. Like, before that, it had been over a decade.
Well, still within 5 years, we're talking 3 shows. So, Jimmy, I polished that off in a quarter, give or take, something like that.
Yeah.
No, but that's cool. That's great, man. I'm so glad you got to go and have a good time.
Oh yeah, I did see what y'all been saying about the merch situation though. There's like 5 shirts, some hats, and they had an autographed Hangman figure for $150. That was pretty rad, but I wasn't gonna spend $150 on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's weird that they don't have more merch.
And they do at times. Like, I remember, there's AEW superfan, Shining Polaris on Twitter. Christine, she's a super nice girl, right? She posts a lot of stuff. She goes to a ton of AEW shows, right? And she posts stuff when they're in Chicago, when they're in, she went to New York. We went to All Out, yes. Now I'm confused because there's now 2 all something pay-per-views a year. We went to All Out in Chicago a few years back, and it's All Out, so it's whatever. But regular shows that go on some other places have like a full accoutrement of things, but I don't know, just a handful of shirts, a belt or 2, which are ridiculously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
A couple little knickknacks here and there, some scissor fingers, and few collectibles. That's it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, kind of disappointing. But then it was. Oh yeah, right. It was real nice that, like, I bought a $20 ticket and it was sitting like 10 rows up in the lower bowl, like right in front of Hardcam. It was nice. It was dirt cheap. It was rad.
Nice.
Well,
so let's pivot, gentlemen. So I thought maybe we should do something for November, but with everything that happened this past week, I feel like it's okay to skip, because there was a lot of happenings in the world of wrestling. Lots of happenings. The very first one that we're just going to go ahead and say, the NXT is moving to the CW.
Who?
Good for them, I guess.
I mean, it's like, okay.
Yeah, okay, but that's not the big news out of that whole thing, because it was reported earlier that week that one NWA, not the rap group, had 2 TV deals, and one of them was with the CW. And that was in jeopardy because at the Sam Hain pay-per-view,
this is a great story.
There was a spot at that pay-per-view where James Mitchell had a big pile of Coke in front of him, did a Coke spot like in the middle of the thing, and I guess everybody kind of got pissed because they were doing lines of fake Coke or acting like they were going to do Coke at the Sam Hain pay-per-view. So now, this is the extra piece, and this is where I want to get to. This is like our TMZ moment, gentlemen.
Okay.
There are now reports coming out that it might be complete and utter bullshit that the NWA has 2 TV deals on the
They
table
have probably
right
had
now.
0 deals the whole time, is what you're saying.
Yes. So it's come under scrutiny that they might not have had jack shit.
Somehow this doesn't surprise me in the least. Austin, I mean, does it surprise you at all?
No, I had heard something that they didn't have a TV deal. They were just going to stream on the CW app because, like, WoW streams on the CW app.
Right. Right.
So I could see them throwing NWA on that. Whether or not they had a TV deal, I doubt it because it's not like CW called up WWE over the weekend and was like, hey, can we just buy NXT to have it on our network? And they were like, yeah, we'll fax a paper right now. Like, those negotiations are months in the going. So it seems unlikely that the NWA had a deal while CW was about to drop a shitload of money because apparently the money went way up over what they're getting now to pick up NXT. So yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that one.
I don't think they ever had a deal. Heather points out that she just watched a clip of Shawn Michaels throwing white powder in Undertaker's face. So you're not wrong. That also was the Attitude Era. This is also an era where it was some questionable things were done on TV, both verbally and visually. Let's just put it that way in general. Okay.
That happened before the movie Tropic Thunder came out, and that movie can't even come out nowadays.
Right.
We live in a different time, ladies and gentlemen.
Funny story. So a Twitch streamer that I follow, actually did a redeem on her channel for movie night in a few weeks for Tropic Thunder because she's never seen it. And everyone's like, ooh, like, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for her. I saw the spot. I've been a long time professor of love for James Mitchell as a character, right? And here's the thing that gets me about this, okay? NWA and Billy Corgan and all his, I was going to say wisdom, but that's not the right word. All his whateverness,
eccentricity.
They have not done the best choices over the past few years. We know this. See Tyrus. I know why they did it. Don't tell me. I know, chat. I know why they did it. This spot would have been fine, but it went on like a way too long time. Like, they just kept doing coke and drinking fake vodka, giant vodka bottles, and kept like killing time. It felt like at a point where they're just like Scarfacing it up over there with a pile of cocaine in the middle of this wrestling show, and the commentator's like, "Oh, it's a party," and I'm just like, "You do it to yourself." I mean,
Yeah, is there not a single adult in the room there to be like, this is a very stupid idea. We should not do this.
But Billy Corgan's
no
not
good
one,
will come of this spot. Like,
or if you do it like in hinting at it in passing, right? You don't actually show or do anything. You kind of hint at it, right? That's the thing. Wrestling, it's all about the sleight of hand sort of bit, right?
Yeah, but like, okay, even if you're going to hint at it, what does that really do for you? Is that going to help you tell an interesting story? No. Are a couple people, like, kind of immature people, going to be like, "Oh, look, he's using cocaine"? Maybe. Are far more people on the internet going to be like, "This is fucking stupid," and make your product look worse than it already is? That's an absolute. So maybe just don't fucking do it in the first place.
Yep. So NXT going from USA, they're on USA, right?
Yeah. Now they're
USA
going
to CW, which is network TV adjacent. I'll call it that. It's still cable. CW is, but it's not like deep cable. I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine for them. I think it's about 6-1, to be honest with you. They're on USA or if they're on CW.
I think this is the first domino for WWE because they're done with USA, they're done with Fox.
Yep.
Here shortly, so they have to find homes for all their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is step one going over here. They cut the hole in the box, ladies and gentlemen, and then one of these times, like when Raw goes, they'll put the junk in the box, and then when SmackDown goes, you get to open the box, and then you get to see a Vince in a box.
Every single holiday, a Vince in a box.
Yes, but yeah, no, it's just weird. I think it's more funny to me that the lies
The
coming
lies of
out.
NWA.
Oh man, we don't have just one TV deal. We got 2 TV deals. You guys don't even understand.
Is that a coked up Jim Cornette there?
I mean,
Why would you even have 2 TV deals with the same network?
Why would you ever announce that? Right? You know, we have 2 TV deals. No, you don't. No, you don't.
If the network didn't announce it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, they won't announce it until
like,
it's done. If you announce it ahead of time, you don't have a deal anymore if you did have one.
Yeah, and that's the other
way
thing
this
too.
shit
Like,
works.
all right, Billy Corgan, like if you really had those deals, you would not be going to the internet and tweeting about it right now.
Yeah.
You would wait until they give you the okay, because otherwise it would probably jeopardize your deal.
And Heather says that CW is the strange we pander to the Hughes network. The problem is they have purposefully made it so they're trying not to be. They have canceled out all the DC shows. No more Flash, Supergirl. They've canceled all those out and put on there more adult-oriented things to stunningly low viewership numbers. Shockingly enough, you remove the Flash and you put on there some rom-com drama, you know, meant for like 40-somethings.
They was it the Big
Go
Ten? They
figure.
picked up one of the conferences game rights.
The Big 12, shockingly enough.
Oh, Big 12, that's what it was.
On their way out.
Yeah, everyone's leaving. But yeah, I did read they're trying to go to more like sports and adult stuff. So like throwing some pro wrestling on there is probably not a bad idea. I think anyone that likes NXT and is currently invested in it will probably follow it wherever it goes.
yeah. And speaking of NXT, let's just move on with some more
We're gonna
NXT.
stay in this boat.
JJ, I don't know if you saw this. I assume you have.
You assume too much.
There are reports that Julia is going to be reporting to NXT in the very near future.
I heard that.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like that is just a bad move for her. Like flat out. Here's why. Now, I understand if you're going to throw the English language thing at me, I get it. Okay, fine, whatever. I feel like Performance Center, sure. If she's going to sign with WWE, I think she's good enough to go directly into the main roster. I think it's more likely that Julia would make an entrance into dabble her toes in AEW or go TNA. I understand though the money's there in WWE. If it is NXT, I mean, let's be completely honest. Stardom is not like as great as it is. We love Stardom. Let's be completely honest. Okay. Stardom is not the purest of pure wrestling promotions out there in the world. Okay. They've got quite a bit of pomp and circumstance that goes along with it because of its nature. So I don't know. I'm torn. I just want to see her in America. Have a chance to go see her live maybe somewhere, right? I don't know. You know, I'm a stan for Julia, so I'm a little bit jaded, you know, thinking she needs to be on a bigger stage. On paper, it probably makes sense. I don't know. It feels like it came out of nowhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But I mean, I could also see, since, you know, reportedly Triple H is running things now, he is a little bit more aware of pro wrestling outside of the WWE bubble. I could see him seeing a star in Julia and being like, absolutely, throw back the Brinks truck up. Let's get her here.
I mean, they have the money.
Regardless of where she ends up, as a pro wrestler that will never be in such a situation, I just appreciate that we live in a time where like someone with all the talent and ability you would need that's coming from overseas is going to have several offers on the table and get to pick the best deal for themselves instead of there's one place you can make money.
Yeah.
It's true.
So like good for her wherever she goes.
And here's my thought on Julia. Julia is a phenomenal wrestler. She is stunningly beautiful. She has ties to Io and Asuka.
She does, especially Io.
And Kairi Sane, who just recently returned
in Saudi.
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense for her to be surrounded by her people
It does.
Get that bag. And honestly, man, like as much as we do shit on the Fed from time to time, there is no bigger stage.
It's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, obviously, since we all prefer a different product, like we would rather see the best talent go to the show we actually watch. But if you look at like Asuka and Nakamura, both huge names in Japan that have now been in the WWE for years and years and years, they clearly don't hate it there too much if they keep re-signing and sticking around. Like they're making a good payday. They're, being used regularly, getting good spots. It's probably not a bad deal wherever she ends up. But obviously we would all prefer to see her in AEW because why wouldn't we?
Asuka's multiple-time champion, Io's current champion, right?
Who had an amazing match on Crown Jewel, by the way.
Such a good Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel is not bad. Let's be real. Crown Jewel is pretty damn good.
So does it piss off anybody other than me that Logan Paul is so goddamn good at wrestling?
So much. And you talk about heels. Here you go. But my God, and the fact that he is so good at wrestling, and that's even worse. He is so good at it, though. He's really fucking good at it.
Yeah. Well, as much as the Paul brothers are a couple dorks, like. They are both extremely athletic, and if you are extremely athletic and you're legitimately a fan of pro wrestling, you typically pick this shit up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Like, if you grew up watching wrestling and genuinely enjoying it, like, you don't really have to be taught a suplex. You might do it on a crash pad once or twice just to make sure no one dies, but you get it. You've been doing these things with your action figures or your little brother for decades, and the transition into doing it for real, obviously there's stuff to learn and it's not seamless, but if you're super athletic and you've been watching it forever, like you'll get it pretty much right away.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is
so good. That was sexy.
Picked it up. And honestly, as far as celebrity goes, Bad Bunny's right behind him.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny was phenomenal in everything he did. Like, again, if you're a fan of the product and you're willing to learn, like, you can pick it up. But yeah, Logan Paul is also just naturally more athletic than most humans on the planet.
But in general, I saw a clip there where he where there was like a miss angle on a back moonsault that Mysterio did, and here's Logan Paul saving him from breaking his neck. Really, it's like you probably saw that, didn't you, Austin?
So, I mean, technically, I guess you could say he saved Rey Mysterio, but pull back the curtain a little bit here. If a dude's gonna moonsault you, you don't always start in the exact spot because you got to engage him coming over. You got to land right in the middle. So I guess technically you could say Logan Paul saved him, but Logan Paul did what you're supposed to do there is find him in the air and get underneath him so he doesn't land on his head.
Right.
Still, like, great job. Rey Mysterio didn't die. That's awesome. But yeah, I saw people being like, no rookie would have done that. Like, again, if you've ever watched wrestling and you see someone doing a moonsault, you just naturally know where to get to land underneath it. And he just tried to get to the spot you would go to.
Yeah. No, it was great. Like, he looked good. The show, like, I watched bits and pieces of it because I finally got Peacock back, mainly because my kids want to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, which, by the way, solid movie.
Is it?
Way better than I thought it was going to be, and I know very little about the Five Nights at Freddy lore. Is actually way better than I thought. So there you go. And anyway, so the show I thought was pretty good. And the number one star in all of wrestling, Rhea Ripley, tore the freaking house down.
We just live in her world.
But like Saudi crowds are a little weird. They don't cheer for women whatsoever. But that's them. But it's Jesus. I will fight anybody, any day, anywhere that tries to say Roman Reigns is a bigger star than Rhea Ripley right now because they're liars. She is the biggest star right now, hands down. I can't believe we're talking positive about the Fed.
I missed the women's 5-way. I picked it up during the Logan Paul Rey Mysterio match while I was studying. Wasn't bad. And I normally tune in for definitely the big 4 pay-per-views. And if I don't have anything going on when another one's going on, I'll tune in and watch.
Yeah.
But why did I see the exact same finish 4 matches in the row to close out the show? Like, people interfere, and we just go home from there. Like, does every match have to have several run-ins in it? Can we stop doing that, please?
Yeah,
if
I mean,
only.
if it works, don't wear it out. But I guess they must have missed that memo.
Yeah, it was just match after match after match. Oh, here's a bunch of people running in. You have authority figures on both of your shows. Can they not address this? Can they not, like, why do you go through the effort to put an authority figure on your show, create a new character, and be like, this guy is in charge? And then every single time your main title gets defended, Homeboy's friends run in and make sure he wins the match. Would you not eventually be like, hey, man, that's not cool, so here's what we're going to do to make sure that doesn't happen
All right.
this time?
Austin, I need you to take that logic and go back to real world here for us, okay? We're talking wrestling, okay? I don't need logic getting in the way of me enjoying my WWE crown jewel, all right?
And that's the thing, too. Like, WWE, they've got a great roster. Like, throw some of that logic in there and it would be a great product. I would love to have 2 different companies I enjoyed watching every week with like a show on every night. But on every time I tune into W, because a couple weeks ago I watched the Hulu version, the condensed version of an episode of Raw. I saw people on Twitter saying, oh, Raw's been really good recently. Nothing ever seems to matter. Like, every couple of months I'll catch a Raw and it's kind of the same shit that was going on last time I tuned in. So it doesn't make you want to watch.
That's largely been my biggest complaint why I stopped watching WWE regularly. It's because it's the same show, right? Used to be back in the day, and even past the Attitude Era, even in Ruthless Aggression, right? If you missed a month or two, it was completely different. You had no idea what was going on, right? Now you can step away for 6 weeks, come back, and it's basically the same show, more or less, right?
Absolutely.
It's 50-50 booking out the wazoo. They have long-term stories, but with the same people for long periods of time. Like this whole LA Knight thing. He finally got his shot at Roman. When did he start going after Roman? 3.5 months ago, right?
And he still didn't win.
It always makes your baby face look like an absolute dipshit. Roman's friends are going to come down and interfere in this match. You know that because it's happened every single time. Do you not have a handful of buddies backstage? And I'll be like, oh yeah, we'll just wait in Gorilla, and if we see him, we'll come down and throw some hands, even it up.
Or somebody you could pay, or anything. There's
the King's Court. The King's Court.
Yes.
There we go. We got it. I will rule you. No, okay. Let's get the hell away from here.
Crowd us. Sorry.
I will bust. Okay. All right. Dynamite.
Someday we should do a Ready to Rumble watch along.
Oh my God. Yes. Hey, if you all are interested in doing that, like, let us know.
Yeah, we'll hop in. Oh my God, we could do a Discord thing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that'd be a good time.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Dynamite. Dynamite happened, and a lot of stuff happened in Dynamite tonight, guys. So let's get right to it.
Yes, and I've decided for Dynamite, the entire time we talk about Dynamite,
oh Jesus,
somebody needs to be here the whole time because there's a lot to talk about, folks. And this person has been right multiple times.
Oh God, I don't think that hat's big enough for your head there, Jamie. I'm just saying.
That is accurate.
All right. Let's go, Jiggle Boy.
So this is what we're starting with. So I want to save MJF Daniel Garcia because, yes, that's all I got to say. But I do want to start with Darby Allin and Sting versus the Outrunners because we can hit this really quick. It's exactly what you thought would happen, even though I love the Outrunners. I love their gimmick and everything about them. But you knew that this is going to be the start of the Sting Swan Song, and it happened in fabulous fashion. Got the Scorpion Deathlock, got the win. Like,
if you're not on the
who didn't see that
roster
coming?
and you're not regularly on Dynamite, and you're fighting Sting on a Dynamite, you're gonna lose pretty quickly.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So I do want to bring up this. If there was a move tonight, like, like Pee-wee's Playhouse or anything like that, like it's, sponsored by the letter Q or whatever, right?
Sorry.
I feel like tonight's move of the night, I felt like I saw like 75 times tonight, was a Death Valley driver. I don't know if you guys caught on to how many DVDs we saw tonight.
I really didn't. I mean, I saw him.
I noticed a couple, but like it didn't seem excessive to me.
Me either.
But I also might have just not noticed.
Yeah, see, that's what you get. I pay attention.
Lots of DVDs.
Because Mark Stradamus calculates this information.
What's the count, Mark Stradamus? Then.
Okay, there was 11 of them.
He did. He counted it.
Yeah, that seems like a lot for a 2-hour show.
That's a lot of DVDs.
Wait, do you count Penta's off the shoulders power slam gimmick as a DVD?
Absolutely, I do.
That's a different move.
It's a DVD.
No, that's power slam.
Oh, no. The one where he pulls around like that, the cradle? That's
now where he cradles them. The new one he started doing recently where he spins them, but he lands on top. That's power slam.
Oh, no. That one doesn't count.
Okay.
It's the full on shoulders to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a DVD.
11 of them. Wow. So the reason I bring this up, gentlemen, since we literally just talked about the King's Court, the first person I ever saw use that move was Perry Saturn back in the day. And I know he's not the first one to actually do it, but that's the one I remember first.
I always remember Perry Saturn too.
So it was his finisher because he used that or he used the Rings of Saturn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now it's getting passed out like cornbread. Like, it's just a thing, just like super kicks, just like DVDs.
Canadian Destroyers.
Whatever happened to protecting a goddamn finisher?
It's a great question.
Whose finisher is it now?
Nobody's.
So it's not a finisher. You got to protect it.
Yeah, like whatever happened to protecting finishers, though?
In general, I think wrestling just kind of evolved beyond that. Because if you go back to when Saturn was hitting the Death Valley driver as a finish, go back 20 years before that, and a sidewalk slam was a finish. A suplex was a finish. A guy would just drop an elbow, and I'm not talking off the top, just drop his elbow right there. I think it's just an evolution of wrestling. You've gotten to a point where like people do come up with new moves sometimes. And those are ones where it takes a very special athlete like to hit it.
Like the heat
But for the most part,
get it.
We've kind of maxed out on like the logical things you can do with another human body. And every once in a while, someone pops off something new. But like, there's not new stuff coming out like every couple of months or someone debuts and they've got a new finisher. Like, the early 90s, you see Razor Ramon hit the Razor's Edge the first time and your mind's blown. Like, they can do that. Mm-hmm. We're just kind of beyond that. So a lot of times now it's just, whatever you hit last. I do enjoy AEW is a lot better than this in WWE. In AEW, people have multiple finishers or sometimes they'll win with moves that aren't their finish.
I do like that.
That's where I think you can still protect finishers nowadays is like have some moves you save for bigger moments, but also win more often on weekly TV with other shit. Like if you watch the UFC, someone doesn't win via one technique every time. It's whatever opens itself up. And I think it'd make the dream matches AEW gives you a little bit more interesting. Not that they're not absolute bangers more often than not. But when you get a Penta and Swerve like we did tonight, which we'll go into, you don't necessarily have to look for a finish. You might just see something that looked impactful and rad that ends the match. Like I would love to see things finish more often on just cool high impact stuff that just might not be their one special move they use.
I've long championed that idea in general because just for that very same reason, it makes it more believable. You don't always have to win with your finisher, right? You can win with something else. But to your point, yeah, it seems like there's especially in AEW, there is very few actual finishers that are out there. There's a handful. I would say more than one. You got Adam Cole, has got the boom, right? That's a pretty solid, protected finisher.
Well, hold on though. When you think in the scope of protected, that means people don't kick out of it either. Like I don't know if you heard Bully Ray, talk about the 3D and how for 17 years no one ever kicked out of it, and then
Right.
Chris Sabin decided to kick out of it without even talking to him, even though it was the go home, and they got super pissed because it was protected. Shocker, Bully Ray gets pissed.
Right.
But like there is literally 1 to 2. Okay, the coffin drop. I don't think I've ever seen anybody kick out of the coffin drop.
Didn't Christian kick out of that at Dreamwave? Or
Yeah, he did. God damn it. Okay.
What about the Heat Seeker? Has anybody kicked out of the Heat Seeker?
Fuck you. Actually, yes, because they got their foot on the rope. Adam Cole, baby. No, the only one that I know of that has not been is One Winged Angel, and Heather hit right on the head. That's been protected forever. No one kicks out of it.
That's been
But
protected
that's
since
how
Japan.
finishers used to be, man.
Didn't Ospreay kick out of it?
No, it always gets interrupted. No one ever kicks out of it. It's protected.
So one thing with protecting finishers, which I believe in to an extent, but here's the question: if you're protecting a finish, what are you protecting it for or from?
It's supposed to be the end all be all super finisher.
That you're halfway there. It's supposed to be the end all be all until it's not. I think the middle ground is newer guys, or if someone finds a new move, you protect it for a while until there's a reason for someone, or like someone gets something or gets more over by kicking out of it. You can do that, and then once it's been kicked out of, like a little more often, okay, maybe it's not as devastating as it used to be. But I think if you're protecting a finisher forever, you're just robbing yourself of an awesome moment for some other opponent down the line. Like the Tombstone pile driver. Nobody kicked out of the Tombstone
for years.
Until you had Kane do it. Mm-hmm. And that might not have been the first. I think it was, might not have been the very first. But that was such a big deal at that WrestleMania match that it took 3 Tombstones to put Kane down. They had protected that finish for the better part of a decade. Now you kind of pivot to where you can tell some other stories and work that into matches where occasionally someone can kick out of it, and eventually it'll lose that luster, but then you've got someone else with a different finish down the line that you can protect that way. So I think that's probably the best you could hope for in this age, because big falsies are just multiple falsies are just, it's a part of the matches people really want to see these days. They want to see those kickouts. They want to see that struggle back and forth. But you can still protect stuff to an extent. You just got to know when the time is all right, now let's get someone to kick out of this and give them that little bit of a rub.
Yeah. And Rob, to your point, no one's ever kicked out of the One Winged Angel in AEW. And actually, there's only been one person ever to kick out of the One Winged Angel, and that's Kota Ibushi. Just FYI. One person. Ever. Not even Okada in the 7-star match. Just want to point that out for the record. But no, to your point, like I believe that you should protect it as long as you possibly can until like you get to that seminal moment, or you could still protect it like it's your finisher, but then I do your finisher on you, but you're able to kick out of your own finisher, then it protects you because you didn't do your finisher. Like I can get behind that. I think that carries a lot of weight. Because then you still protect it from coming from you because it's your killer. Again, it goes back to my love of finisher stealing, move stealing. Like that is like the greatest damn thing since the Lion Tamer.
But I also agree with the statement too, whereas it's got to be something that's and there's limits to human creativity so far. I mean, like remember when the Canadian Destroyer first came out, and I was like, what the fuck is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was unbelievable, right? Well, eventually everybody's able to do it, and now it's not a finisher. So, I mean, if there's something that happens like that, cool, right? But I don't know. I'm big on winning the match in different ways adds complexity to the overall story.
That's fair. I like it. I just wanted to see your guys' opinion. All right, so we had an awesome video package after the Darby Allin Sting match of Hikaru Shida and Timeless Tony Storm, and Tony said something in this that sparked something in me.
Okay.
That because she's like, I was gonna make history, and now I am history, and I don't know why that stuck in my head, and I loved it so much, but it just made this personality so much better, because what happened to her is Hikaru Shida stole her belt from her, like in her mind, and that's why she went nuts.
She keeps happening. Then you happened. Then you happened. You can't happen anymore.
So I've already been 100% on board with this new Timeless Tony Storm. But Jesus, like this thing just took it to another level for me with her. Yes.
What about this? I don't want them to put the belt on Tony. I think it's going to take, I think you put a belt on her, it takes away from this, personally.
I think she's getting it.
I think she probably will.
I think she's getting it.
Rather her not, though.
Yeah, but like kind of going to your point, Jamie, I said this a couple weeks ago, like the Tony Storm stuff's been great. It's fun. Now it's time to like turn it into something. Yep. And this promo package is one of the most interesting things they've done in the women's division in forever. And it was, you got a title match at the pay-per-view, put the two women together, let's hear why they're each here, and like build some interest in the match. And it did exactly that. This was Tony Storm finally explaining what the hell's been going on with Tony Storm for the last like 2 months. And it filled out the character. Now we know why she is the way she is. Yeah, now like I think this is like the most hype they've built for a women's title match in some time as well. It makes you real interested. And Shida did her part great as well. As fantastic. I beat you before, I'm gonna beat you again, because like Shida should beat just about everybody. She's that good. But yeah, to go against your point, JJ, I do think Shida's dropping the belt at Full Gear.
I mean, that's smart money. I know.
I think Mariah May is going to be involved.
Well, and that's the point that I love to see, because there's 3 separate women's things involved here. We'll go right to it. We don't have to go linear, Jamie. Let's go right to it.
No. So this beautiful hat has predicted a lot of things correctly, and that was one of them, ladies and gentlemen.
There's your stamp. You got it.
Stamp me. Mariah May.
You said you liked finisher stealing, so I stole your gimmick.
Perfect. See,
even better. It makes it.
This is a give and take, folks.
He is rock hard right now, Austin. Just so you know.
Bam. Yeah. No. So this thing right here is, I called it what, 2 months ago?
Something
about.
Like I don't.
Yeah, I
shout out to Sandman in chat. Sandman's with me on the whole Tony Storm no belt thing. Thank you, Sandman. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, this thing's about to make a prediction on that as well. But Mariah May coming in, one, is amazing. She's an excellent wrestler.
Very good pickup. Yes.
And you know, she's gorgeous. She hits all the marks for American TV. But then for us marks, she could wrestle like a mother. But here's the thing. They straight up brought her in as Mickie James. Did anybody else get that
James
vibe?
Stalker vibe? That's my note that I have written down.
Yes.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, they are fucking up if she doesn't become Tony Storm's understudy. And that's why I think Tony Storm's winning the belt, because that's a good way to introduce Mariah May with an act that's already over, because a lot of the American audience isn't super familiar with her.
They are not.
You can introduce her with an act that's already over. They can have their run for a bit. When it's run its course, there's your next title match right there.
Yeah.
Rob's also putting a little wrinkle in this. I mean, there's some legs we can go with this. I think 1,000% The fact that he even did the whole like RJ City and she started going off and how he can introduce her to her, it's 100% Mickie James storyline. We all know this, right?
Yes.
But they can go either way. She can help her win. Or to Rob's point, how about this? Before Marstradamus speaks here, that, you know, because Mariah May comes out, it costs Tony the championship. You never know. I'm just saying.
So if they're doing this thing, they have the main lead and then the understudy, right?
Okay.
But the understudy has to get the main lead to love them and to support them. And how is she gonna do that? She's gonna get that title for her from Hikaru Shida. And then the understudy, because like they're doing the actress thing, right? She's the understudy. And then eventually the understudy's gonna take it over, and then we're gonna have a big blow off between those two. It's gonna be gorgeous, but stamp it now. Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, taking that title at Full Gear.
Yeah, and so
Mariah May
Tony said
Mariah May, for these don't know here, she's most recently in Stardom over in Japan. She's well worth a Google. Go look her up after we're done here, of course. You know, but go give her a look up on look up some of her videos. She was in Stardom for the past year and a half.
About 2 years.
2 years. Okay, and then indie circuit before that. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, she's an Aussie or New Zealander. You know, she's down under.
South Pacific woman.
Yes. Uber athletic. She was in a faction with Julia. So that will give you some kind of idea about her. She is kick-ass, but she is the number 3 woman from Stardom. If you were doing rankings, Julia's 1, Shuri's 2, in my opinion, and then Mariah May was 3. And then
so Tony said to Shida during the promo tonight, "You are not going to steal my spotlight." And Mariah May becoming Tony's understudy, and then eventually trying to win, like that story just tells itself. And I think the reason why that has to go on from Full Gear and Shida has to drop the title is, what interesting story do you have to tell with Shida? I mean, obviously you can have Shida wrestle anybody, but there's really not anything set up or anywhere for Shida to go outside of just keeps defending the title for a while. Toni Storm's kind of the thing they got going on with the women's division right now. And AEW, while they did it tonight, they don't normally like to have more than one thing going on with the women's division. So that's why I think that belt's going with
3. Yeah.
And that's why I think that belt's going with Tony, because I don't think they're going to have a good Tony story and a good Shida title story going on simultaneously on weekly TV. I wish they did, but they won't.
Who knows? We'll see how they go here with that.
So before we get into all the matches that kind of go together, because there was a theme of Bullet Club and MJF essentially.
Yeah, you want to handle everything else first? Let's do it.
So there's 2 other matches that I'd like to talk about, and let's go ahead and talk about, since we're on the women, let's stay on the women.
Let's do it.
So you had Julia Hart versus Red Velvet.
Welcome back, Red Velvet.
Welcome back, Red Velvet. Happy birthday to the thong wearing Julia Hart. I might be the only crazy one. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like I'm watching with my kids. Yeah, I was watching with my daughters. I'm like, hey, yo, no.
Hey, if you 22 years old, you got it, flaunt it. Go for it.
Hey, all you single men out there, but anybody with kids,
Yeah. By the way,
daughters,
if you're married, guys. Haha.
Yeah, someone did do her dirty. Yeah. But that match, honestly, guys, I love that match.
It was a very good match, not involving the same women we see every week. It was a separate story, and the crowd was into it. Julia's over, first of all. Julia's over big with the crowd. Red Velvet, people appreciate seeing her back. So to our point, and to your point, Austin, more than anything, different faces give them TV time. You might get something good. Well, shit. Look what you did. It worked.
Yeah, I was making dinner during this match, so I only caught bits and pieces. But my wife did say this was probably the best Julia Hart match she's seen so far. I do have a little bit of a problem with Red Velvet, and it's the same problem I have with Sky Blue. So she does the straight from your mama's kitchen. She wears an apron to the ring. Nothing else she does at any other time is like connected to cooking or anything. You just spent 9 months on the shelf. Come back with like either flesh out that gimmick or come back doing something a little bit different. Because Red Velvet is a perfectly capable performer. Like, it's not like she's bad. It's not like she doesn't belong on TV. But what is there to be interested about in Red Velvet outside of the novelty of we saw some people we don't usually get to see wrestle on Dynamite this week? So I would like to see like flesh that character out or give us something more than you wear an apron, you come from your mom's or someone's mama's kitchen. Like,
I'm with you, but it's a start.
Not a
it's a start though.
Yeah.
Get her on TV a little bit to start.
Yeah, well, you know, I think it kind of ties in with what happens afterwards. So Julie Hart puts her in Heartless, and then the
first of all, great moonsault.
Yeah, well, she's a former cheerleader, so you know she's got the tumbling background. But the no personality crew and Willow Nightingale come out. It's probably the best way I could put that. So you had Sky Blue coming out in Mad Face. I don't know.
They're doing
what that was.
I was more on board with this than Jamie was. I feel because last week they did the whole. She came out and did spit the blue thing at Julia. It was Julia sold like a mother, right? And then she comes out here all in black now with the blue eye makeup. Very obviously still turning evil, right? There's no hiding this. We're 100%. She's doing the whole slow turn. And I'm for it because at least I say it might not work in the long run, but you're trying something with Sky Blue, right? She's trying to get that range and not be, to Austin's point, the gimmick of the color blue. Right, so it's something.
She also just got Scooby-Doo gear.
She
can't be turning that evil. She's dressed like the Mystery Machine.
You know, not right away. But no, she comes out, and the whole time, Julia, who we've sung her praises about her growth in the past like year and a half as a performer, let alone wrestler, right? She's selling this. She's kind of looking at her, trying to like see, and you know, like the whole like. You know, that classic horror trope, you know, the blind, you know, monster that's, you know, trying to see what's in front of them, right? You know, and then out comes Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and the whole time, you know, Sky Blue never really, you know, puts animosity or, you know, she's very stone-faced. She even gives a side-eye look to Statlander as Julia leaves the ring. So
well, and Statlander stepped in front of her too.
She did. So I think it's pretty obvious that they're gonna do the semi version of the, you know, the female House of Black sort of bit. Julia, you know, let Sky be Julia's, you know, like understudy or whatever, dark acolyte. I don't care what you call her, but I like it. You're at least trying something different. And for what it's worth, you've had multiple stories. Even if these all don't connect, Red Velvet, you know, she might need some more character work, right? We all bitch about Statlander outside of the bells, right? You know, but they're trying some stuff here at least.
So I was wondering during the show if Chris Statlander just always wears her title around backstage.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Also, why did Sky Blue get music for a run-in, but Chris Statlander and Willow didn't?
That's a great question. That once again, I don't need your logic getting in the way of my wrestling watching here.
Yeah, like it was nice. It was nice seeing a second story from the women's division. I think they need to pick up the pace or add a little bit more to this one. I think there's something there, but it needs a little bit more because outside of like maybe Willow and Julia to some degree as well, like people aren't super invested into most of these people just yet. And kind of the way they're slow burning this, it's better served when like everyone's already into the characters. There's a little bit more anticipation. So I would just like to see them like let's get to something a little bit more substantial so we have more interest to tune in. Watch us continue to go.
Make the turn with Sky, then have her and Julia do something like real dirty to Statlander, right? You know,
I'm getting a premonition.
Returned, and
I'm getting a premonition, gentlemen.
A premonition?
Julia Hart will be the next TBS champion.
I'm for it.
And it will happen on a Collision.
Okay.
Not a pay-per-view.
I can see that.
In 3 to 4 weeks.
Ooh.
I could see that. I think
I'm for it, man. Move that belt.
I would rather them like pick up the pace with like, let's turn Sky Blue. Let's divide into some teams. Let's get this story going. But then drag it out and do Julia and Statlander at World's End. Because you're only about 6-7 weeks out from that. Try and make it a big deal and put it on a pay-per-view. But yeah, you're right. It'll probably just happen on an episode of Collision.
I mean, be the first title that got changed hands on Collision that I can think of.
Didn't the tag titles change hands on Collision?
Tag titles. Remember Big Bill and Starks?
Was that or was that on the Battle of the Belts 29? Okay. Okay, cool.
No title has changed hands on the Battle of the Belts, which is by far the worst naming convention Tony Khan has.
Yeah, I think the last Battle of the Belts was the one where Collision had like 2 or 3 title matches, and Battle of the Belts had a match that wasn't even for a title.
Yeah, they're battling
Crazy.
for some Louis Vuitton belts is what they're doing, okay? Arcolettes, I do like that, Sandman.
I do like the Arcolettes as well.
That is good. Whoa.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on relatively quick because I want to get all the other ones
we
together.
got a lot still to go through.
Easily my match of the night, and that does include a Daniel Garcia match. Swerve Strickland versus Penta. Holy shit. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And I'm a technical wrestling nerd, strong style nerd, and this like blew my top off. Like Swerve's amazing. Penta's amazing. That's all you need to know.
I loved every aspect of this. I love the very subtleness of interaction with Abrahentes and Nana at ringside. It just this was great. This is exactly what I love about AEW.
Yeah, Swerve and Penta was exactly what I thought it would be as soon as I saw it announced that it would be Swerve and Penta.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this entire episode of Dynamite pretty much was one of those ones where they're just like, we're just going to give you an awesome show because it's been a minute since we had like a really good one. And it was phenomenal. Like, I don't even know if out of the 4 kind of major advertised matches, I don't know if I could even pick a favorite. They were all different. They were all great in their own ways. But yeah, Swerve and Penta was just phenomenal. But I mean, you got 2 of the best in the world right now in there doing it. Like, of course it's going to be great.
And the ending of it was even better because, you know, one of the things that I've been pining for is a good storyline for, you know, the cowboy himself, you know, Hangman. Like I've been wanting something since, honestly, he has not had a really good storyline since his Omega storyline, in my opinion.
Right.
This one right now with him going to like Swerve going to his house and then the fire and the crazy eyes. Like I loved how they talked about the crazy eyes because when he hit the dead eye onto the
tables down below on the ramp,
random table set up, you know, like dude, like this is a storyline that we need, and Swerve is the best person to get it out of him. Like these 2 could be your pillars of the future, like your 2 top guys, if the MJF rumors are true that he has not re-signed.
I said those rumors.
One, I think Hanger and Mox was a pretty solid feud as well. And that came after the Hanger and Kenny one. But outside of that, yeah, they haven't done a lot of good stuff. I personally, even though I already enjoyed Hangman, I became even more of a Hangman fan tonight because some of that logic I bitch about all the time. Hangman did something tonight that you never see baby faces do. And I appreciate it so much. So he runs down the ring post-match with the chair. Swerve escapes. And then instead of just standing there in the ring like an idiot, Hangman just gets out of the ring with the chair, follows him up the ramp, and beats his ass.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Yeah.
This is a blood feud. That's what you should do. And so often the babyface is like, oh, you got away. I guess my legs aren't working anymore. I'm just going to watch you go back up. Like, I just appreciate it so much that he followed him back up the ramp.
I mean, as Swerve, just like the way he composes himself. I think Sammy mentioned in chat as well too. The addition of Nana was perfect. I still don't think they need anybody else in that whole like mogul. Just Nana, him and Nana, perfect, right? You know. But he is a villain, and yes, people love him. To your point earlier, Austin. Yes, people love him. I love him. But he is a definite villain, and he can definitely like transition that, I think, a little bit to get that heat that's needed. You know, I mean,
going to a man's house should have got him all the heat, but people still love his ass.
But people do love him, and I don't want to say this, but he's not like playing the race card, but it's kind of the way that he is. Coming up here about saying you got my spot and playing at and he's tugging at that string a little bit, which makes him more interesting, because it's like it makes those middle-aged white men a little uncomfortable, but they like seeing him wrestle. And it's just, I think it's good for wrestling in general because he is so good. He's charismatic. He's a great worker in the ring. I have yet to see him have a bad match. We've seen him live still, and it's been even better live. If you get a chance to go see Swerve Strickland live, son of a bitch, go pay the money and see him live, right? He is a star. I think WWE, I said it when they broke it up. It's like they passed up a gold mine when they got rid of the original Hit Row, and they got rid of it the first time. And I mean, he is everything that I think is a great trend, and it gives Hanger something. Like, my favorite Hangman up to this point was Drunk Hangman. Right? Yes, the Hangman Dark Order, I know, with the whole Chase versus Kenny Omega, cool story. But the most interesting Hangman was the just drunk as shit Hangman all the time. Because it was basically him not thinking about a character, not trying to be a face. And because he's not trying to carry the company, he's going after Hangman. He's going after Swerve, and that's where he shines. So maybe that's a deficiency in Hanger overall. I don't know. This is something you can run back, though. I'm happy with everything going on here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, Swerve's an absolute star. And one thing I just kind of noticed watching tonight as well is AEW has so many guys that could be the guy.
Oh yeah.
I would love it if there wasn't a repeat AEW title reign for the next couple of years. Outside of maybe Hangman gets a second one because it's been a long time since he had it. His character's evolved a bit and all that. But it would seem fresh and different to basically every time that belt changes hands, someone else is getting their run for a while. And you have a long period with different guys on top. And they've got the roster to do that as well.
Couldn't agree more.
Start the full gear with Jay White. Yeah. So that's definitely going to happen.
Jay White. You got Swerve Strickland. Adam Cole's going to get run sometime in there. I mean, you could keep going down the list. So
Adam Cole's gonna get one sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's get into that here.
All right, so let's go ahead and start chronologically with the story arc of MJF. Let's just start there. So,
gotcha.
MJF, his match against Daniel Garcia was great. It was everything you wanted. I just loved the fact that every time Excalibur could call the Salt of the Earth the Fujiwara armbar, he took advantage of that. He said it 7 times. Really proud of him. I appreciate the hell because he always wants this. If it's got a Japanese name, Excalibur is jumping all over that shit. He just wants to say it so bad. But no, like I think this match was great. I think it set up everything. It did a good thing for Daniel Garcia because he wanted to shake his hand, and afterwards with everything, that happened. I thought this match was great.
That was good. Daniel Garcia, we've never had a problem, like we said, about with him in the ring. Give him some depth. You're putting a little wedge between him and Matt Menard and Angela Parker. So cool beans, right? But it adds a little complexity. I didn't like the whole he has a title shot and Jay's got a chance to lose his opportunity to face. It's like, no, we know what's going to happen, but
we knew we
got two very good matches out of it, so I'm good with that.
I just wish they would have done the double swerve, bro, and Garcia and Mark Briscoe go over. You still get MJF and Jay White at Full Gear because they've got their thing going on. But then it would be the funniest thing ever if it was like, you thought this was going one way, too bad. Here's Daniel Garcia and Mark Briscoe, which would be a phenomenal match.
A ridiculously good match, let's be honest.
That would have been awesome. But yeah, it was never in doubt. That was the whole thing with those two matches.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll skip to the end for just a second, and then we'll talk about the after the end. So then you had Mark Briscoe versus Jay White, Mr. 39 and a half abs himself. This match was great. Anytime I get to see redneck kung fu on my TV screen, I'm a happy man.
I like the fact that he actually brought it up in the match because they wouldn't bring it up the first few times they wrestled in AEW.
Yeah.
Finally, to bring out the little redneck kung fu. That's what he calls redneck kung fu, he had to say, but they pulled it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that match was phenomenal. Like I said, all four of the big advertised matches tonight, delivered exactly what you wanted them to.
Yeah.
It was great seeing Mark Briscoe main event in Dynamite. That was phenomenal. Jay White is killing it as he has been.
Jay White's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, like I was saying, they're just in such a good place. They've got so many phenomenal wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah. So we're going to put a pin in this match for just a hot second. And then we're going to jump over to another part of Bullet Club Gold. And that is the Guns going up against the Bollywood Boys. It was great to see the Bollywood Boys.
It's their first AEW match, and boy, was it a short one.
It was. But here's the thing.
I liked it.
Yes. We knew the Guns were going over. Great. But then the Guns got the mic, and they were getting that Iron Sheik heat, man. It made my heart happy. It's literally, we've been talking about how much we love them. It felt like they have arrived. I had that feeling for them. They have arrived as bona fide heels. People hate them because they're supposed to hate them, not the go away heat, the X-Pac heat. That is legit Iron Sheik heat. It was great. I am beyond over the moon for those two guys.
Yeah. They've just come so far along since even a year ago when they were gearing up for that first run with the titles.
All right, they're just the ass boys back then. Yeah.
They've become just such a quality part of the show. It's great. And it makes me laugh every time because it seems like someone literally just split Billy Gunn into two slightly less impressive men, and it just works.
Yep. There's the athleticism and there's the personality. You don't get them both together. Yeah. Although Colton actually decent promoing tonight.
Yeah.
So
it was as good as you would need it to be.
Exactly.
You don't have to be great on the mic. You just have to be good enough to tell a story.
He'll clean it up. It's like 3D. When Devon talked, it was just enough.
Yeah. I just really like both of them. I will not call them the Ass Boys anymore.
Ooh.
They've officially earned the Guns for me.
You've heard it.
Moving
forward.
Here first,
folks.
Oh, I thought you were going to call them the Ass Men.
Maybe.
He did not say that, so...
Yeah, they've definitely lost the boy moniker at minimum. But I'm going to start calling them the Guns. I'm going to show them some respect because they damn well deserved it today. Now, so the Guns will have a match at Ring of Honor for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. let's just go ahead and talk about MJF's upcoming tag team partner. It's obvious to me.
It's pretty obvious.
Samoa Joe versus Keith Lee in the meat match.
Meat.
So much meat.
I love it. Oh, that reminds me. It is time. It is time, ladies and gentlemen.
Big meaty man slapping me.
You're welcome. All right.
What did you do?
Oh, I have a soundboard. You can't hear it because we're talking over, chat. But don't worry. They heard it on the internet. Little big meaty men slapping
meat. Oh
no, just big meaty men slapping meat. I can play. It sounds just like this.
Big meaty man slapping me.
Yeah.
I hear it in my ear, but you don't hear it in your ear. Anyway,
oh, that's great. Happy for you.
Meat Club.
Yes,
Rob. I love it. This is so great.
Two giant men treat each other like they weigh 205 each. It's ridiculous.
I mean, there was a German suplex on Samoa Joe. I think the last time Joe was German suplex was Kurt Angle back in TNA in 2008.
Brock. I think Brock got him.
Okay, well, Brock gets everybody.
Yeah.
When they completely dropped the ball by not having Samoa Joe beat Brock Lesnar because he absolutely should have.
You're not wrong in any of that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, but
yeah, this was phenomenal.
And there's 2 DVDs in this match, by the way. Sorry.
Get off that train, Jamie. Come on.
No, I can't. There's always a theme. Like there was a theme like a while back with the Canadian Destroyer night. Of course, there's always a Super Kick night. Oh, we forgot to even talk about the Golden Jets going up against the Young Bucks at the Full Gear.
Yeah, Young Bucks going
wait.
full pissy villainy something, and if they lose their title shot to the Golden Jets.
Well, every few months they have to have the "Why are you friends with him? You're supposed to be friends with us" angle.
I know
It had to come back.
I did love the fact that they called him like bratty, spoiled little shits, and then like they were like, "We've heard that from somebody before." It's like, you dicks. I appreciate.
If they're going heel, go all out. Be the bratty little annoying heels. Those were some of my favorite Young Bucks from back like when they had the ROH New Japan kind of bleed over, bits.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite heel Young Bucks there. Because they were just the bratty, shitty heels. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it was But so after that, during the Mark Briscoe Jay White match, they showed
Joe. So Joe dropped the.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Oh shit. My bad. So Joe wins, but then Joe just gives up the ROH TV title because he wants. The next gold he's gonna have is the AEW championship, and I am in on that. But he vacates the ROH TV title. So what do you think that means, gentlemen?
It'll be won by somebody on a show no one's gonna see. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Unfortunately, like. I don't know. I have not seen any of Ring of Honor's like weekly TV, and I'm sure it's perfectly fine wrestling product, but like, there's several hours of AEW each week. There's all kinds of old wrestling to watch. Like, I'm just not getting around to watching it. I don't think the ROH TV title is likely to be featured that often on Dynamite going forward. I do think. This means the Guns are getting the ROH tag titles
100%.
At Full Gear.
100%.
This has Joe teaming with MJF to get his title shot and then just leaving MJF laying there and walking out, written all over it.
I mean, it's slightly
good for the Guns. Good for the Guns.
Exactly. The Guns deserve it.
That's a nice little trophy to give to them. What's the hat telling you?
Danhausen will be the next ROH TV title champion.
I'm for it.
Yes, but I don't want Danhausen. Not that I don't want it. Like, I'm cool with anything Danhausen does. He entertains the shit out of me. I'm good with anything. I don't think Danhausen should win the ROH TV title. I think he should just start showing up with it because it was vacated and
God.
just have it.
Even
And then whenever you want to
better.
down the road, you can address like you're not actually the champion. Like no one's won that belt.
It was vacated, so I claimed it.
It's lots of monies. You want it? It's lots of monies. Yo,
He's
dude.
gonna hold
Yeah.
it for ransom.
That's even better. That's even
Perfect.
better. So you both would be right.
Perfect.
I'm for it.
All right. So let's go ahead and unpin during the match between Jay Briscoe, Jay White, and Mark Briscoe. Oh, geez. My bad.
It's okay. There was a Jay Briscoe.
Yes, I know.
understandable. It happens, man.
Yeah. But during that match, you saw MJF watching it, and then the shit-eating grin
Oh,
that was on Samoa Joe's face as everything's going on was God blessing glorious.
so good. So good. It's blatantly obvious, right? You know.
He's like, "You need me, bro. You need me."
It's so good. Like with one exception that I'll mention in just a second, they are weaving all these people coming after MJF together very well.
Except for Wardlow.
And that one exception is Wardlow.
Fucking Wardlow.
They did.
It's like cutting
Somebody was
promos.
listening.
He's cutting promos every week, talk about how he's coming for MJF, and then like on Collision, he jumps MJF out of nowhere and just like goozles him up against the wall. It's like, I'll get you when I'm ready. You've been telling us for weeks, like that's all you're thinking about, and you're just like not gonna punch him now.
You
Like
had
you're just gonna walk
choked up
away.
against the wall, 50 Shades of Grey style here, and you couldn't just boom finish the job.
They're making Wardlow look like such a doofus.
I don't think they need to make him look like
What? But in this, somebody listened to our show because I talked
all
to.
right.
Give me my stamp.
Okay.
Give me my stamp because he did talk a little bit more angry, but he didn't have that he was more like, "I'm just
It's a quick
angry."
stamp. That's a quick stamp.
That's a baby stamp because he
The Mariah
kind of
stamp
did it.
was a big stamp. That's a baby stamp.
That was the. I'm gonna get a big ass stamp here in a minute because I got the ultimate prediction.
Well, we'll see about that. I'm still pretty hard bent. Okay, let's go. So Jay White wins, right? No surprise, right? And it was actually a fantastic match. Great
Yeah.
match.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
excellent match. Excellent match. But then following that, you had the breakup or the MJF music hit. They're expecting him to come in from one side. He comes behind them, has the Dynamite diamond ring on. He just knocks out the Guns and the one villain from MIB 3. Or sorry, Juice Robinson. Did anybody else like when he wears those circle glasses? Does he not look like the villain from MIB 3? Okay. So he
God bless you,
knocks him
Juice
out.
Robinson.
Yeah, he gets knocked out. They go try. He crawls over to Cardblade, which again is excellent. And then there's a quick video thing of the Acclaimed getting the shit kicked out of him by 4 assailants. 4 assailants. And then poor Anthony Bowens goes through real glass.
Very real glass.
Very real glass, shatters it. And then, of course, MJF's like, "Oh my goodness!" But the devil shows up and has the thing, and then they run
TV
back.
wise, he's not physically
Yeah.
there. Just flash,
Not
devil
physically.
face again. Mhm.
Yeah, because he's recovering from surgery. But anyway, that's how that ended. And then here comes Samoa Joe. What's happened to all your friends, man?
It's so good. That's how they end the show. Oh, Samoa Joe just going boop. It's like a little baby knife. Oh,
Little baby.
So Heather put in the chat the poor dude in the office just having to stand there. And for just a second, when they cut back there and I saw him, I thought it was Wardlow, and Wardlow was literally just told to stand out of the way while MJF did other shit.
good.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
So we all are in some sort of agreement that this is Adam Cole related faction of sorts, right? Kingdom, Roddy, maybe Kyle O'Reilly if he's healthy, maybe somebody, but somewhere along those lines. Potentially, the original Devil could have been Britt Baker. Like I said, that still fits in the lines. I know it's more than likely it's probably going to be revealed as Adam Cole, although I like my swerve I threw out last week with Britt Baker. it's all going to be Adam Cole related.
Mm-hmm.
And 1,000%, you know. So are we jumping on board the train that MJF's walking out of Full Gear without a belt to his name?
Yes.
I'm on that train.
Absolutely. Now,
I think if he doesn't, he retains the AEW championship for the purpose of losing it to Adam Cole in a couple months' time.
I could see them doing that.
If he does.
I really hope they don't. Where MJF and Adam Cole go from here does not need the title, and actually the title almost cheapens the story.
Yeah.
Adam Cole got his 2 shots. He could not beat MJF. Him being involved with the devil stuff, turning on MJF and all that makes a lot more sense if I can't beat you, you're not walking away with that title anyway. And then you get the AEW title into something where it can be defended more regularly. And the MJF and Adam Cole storyline, you could do all of that without the belt anywhere around. The other thing with that leading to an Adam Cole title reign, which I don't think is out of the question, Adam Cole at this point, I think you have to call injury prone. He gets hurt a lot. You kind of just dealt with that with Punk. Do you really want to put your main title on a guy that doesn't actually need it, who's likely to get injured at some point and make you shuffle plans and all that kind of stuff, when, yeah, he doesn't need the belt. Like, people are going to be just as excited to tune into Adam Cole if he's never the champion. So put it on Jay White, go some different directions, and let MJF and Cole continue their business without the belt. I wasn't here last week, but I'm completely on board with what you said, JJ. I think Britt Baker is going to be the one under the mask. But it'll be a deal where Adam Cole's in the ring with MJF when the devil shows up, so you don't think it's Adam Cole, but then it's Britt Baker, so it is also Adam Cole.
Exactly.
That whole gimmick, which
that's the swerve I'm looking at. And
that's a good story.
And the reason I brought it up was an internet theory that the initial hit on Jay White, if you look at the physical devil that was there, the body was not very big. You actually look at what they had shoulder pads on that, you know, top. That could have been a woman. That could have been Britt Baker. That fits the
And it's the most interesting thing you could do with Britt Baker at this point too. Like, that's a character that the audience still generally likes.
Regardless, it's all revolving around Adam Cole, no matter what. We all know this. This is clear as mud, right? Blatantly obvious.
And it lets Britt Baker become a heel again, but a different kind of heel, instead of just, oh, I've got henchmen and I get to win the belt every time.
Thank you for liking my theory. I appreciate it.
It gives her a much more interesting character. Yeah, I'm fully on board with that. That would be just good storytelling.
Should I give a... Oh, no, that's preemptive. I'm sorry. Tingles are coming back. Look out.
They are. So, Adam Cole, we all agree, is the devil. His faction is Roddy, the Kingdom, Kyle O'Reilly. That's it. Pretty simple. Okay. Jay White is coming out of Full Gear with that belt. Yet you still do not know who the devil is, but you know the devil cost MJF the loss. They're going to keep playing the card up until the December 30th or whatever it is pay-per-view. World's End. Because that's when MJF's world officially ends and his best friend turns on him. And the only reason he did it, and he's going to say it in a promo, is I knew I couldn't beat you, but I can beat him. And that means everything to me. And then he will become the new champion at Revolution.
Okay.
I think that's too short of a title reign for Jay White.
It is, but it makes sense too.
I mean, let's see Shida's last 2 title runs. Let's put it that way. But I'm for moving the belt around, so I don't care, honestly. Move the belt around. Move it around some more. You don't need to give somebody a year and a half on the belt every time, right? Move it around.
I still don't think Adam Cole ever needs that title. I would rather see a good run from Jay White that gets ended by maybe a Swerve Strickland. Like, I think you've just got better options. And like I said, you just don't know with Adam Cole how long you're going to have him before he gets beat up again.
That's a good point.
And maybe you can keep him on TV. Like, it's not that it's going to be long, months long kind of things. But I want to see the AEW title defended regularly. So yeah, I'd like to see Jay White take it, and then MJF and Adam Cole, they could spend like some time resolving all their shit, especially once you start getting factions and stuff involved. Or the other swerve that I would like is Samoa Joe just wins the title at some point and we get Samoa Joe as champion.
Well, Samoa Joe can immediately pivot to anybody who has the belt on him because he's not going after MJF specifically. He said he's pursuing the title tonight.
And I could see Jay White winning the title and you getting Jay White and Samoa Joe at World's End.
Joe. Oh yeah.
For White's first defense. It's a good person for White to beat. Joe won't win the title there, but that's still, I'd buy that main event.
Here's what I say to Mark Stradamus' pick about the whole Cole thing. I like it for several different reasons. Maybe not the full ending to it, but I like the build up and all you're talking about the World's End thing because it plays into this whole thing about the contract, right? We're all in agreement on this dais here. 100% MJF has signed. I think that the rumors about him not have signed his contract, the fact that he wasn't on the all-in ticket sale poster, for next year, it's all work. I think it's 100% of work. But I think it plays well into the story because they do this. They cost him his title at World's End right before his contract expires. Adam turns that final knife in his back, right? Lo and behold, he tries to go after the title, fails, and here comes MJF. Hey, MFer, I re-signed to kick your ass, sort of thing, right?
Or, okay, so with that being said, do you think it's Jay White finds a way to retain, or Jay White doesn't win, and then at World's End he faces Joe, and Joe wins?
I still think Jay White's the move.
I think Jay White's the move. I think you can build up and you can have a blow-off match between Cole of some sorts, if he's healthy, or some way to resolve the whole devil argument if you don't demask them at, Full Gear at World's End. So the belt is lost, but MJF's attention is shifted to this devil situation, Cole, whoever, right? And at World's End is when it can be brought up forthright because the thought is in their mind, kayfabe, is that this is his last performance in AEW before he goes off. Takes a few weeks off, takes a month off, comes back at Revolution. I re-signed my contract. F you guys, let's fight. Right. That's my that'd be my addendum to it.
Yeah, you could do Jay White wins the belt at Full Gear.
Right.
You get your MJF Adam Cole match before the contract's up. MJF loses that match and walks out. And you don't see him ideally for a couple months. Like maybe you build to Adam Cole and Jay White at Revolution, and that's where MJF comes back to cost Adam Cole the match.
I think Revolution would be the
comeback. That up into the comeback. And there's so many ways you go. There's like so many legs to this story. But I do think Jay White needs to win that belt at Full Gear.
The first component is definitely Jay White winning the belt.
I also think Jay White, you've got him as hot as you're going to get him. And I think if he doesn't win the belt at Full Gear, he's got nowhere to go but down.
It really doesn't make sense what they do with him if he doesn't win the belt.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've built it up for nothing in that case. Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, we've got just a little over 10 days until, actually just at 10 days until, because I forget it's on Saturday this month. Messing up my schedule here. So 10 days from right now at the time of this recording, on the 18th, we have Full Gear pay-per-view. So we will, of course, have our picks in ahead of time for that. We're not doing the post-show again. So, if you guys, once again, we do want your feedback. If you prefer us back to like we used to do, where we had a post show right after pay-per-views, let us know. But right now, we're just trying to enjoy the pay-per-views, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about it the week after. But if you do want us to do a specific post show, please let us know. We'll be happy. We just want to do. Yeah, and finally, you are sweaty. I think it's just like a insulated gold lame. I mean, that is. Drop 5
I think it looks
pounds
toasty.
5 pounds off your head instantly with that sucker, Jamie. But yeah, let us know. Give us a comment down below or tweet us at Total Spotfest saying, "Hey, we prefer you guys doing the post shows." Either way, we will be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Next week is the go home then for the card's pretty much set. We've got the card. I don't think they're going to be adding much to it, which means Tony's probably going to add 3 matches to the fucker.
Oh, we'll get like 6 0-hour matches the day before.
And the ugly bangers.
There'll be a 20-man battle royal for the RH TV title. Mark my words.
Give me a battle royal on every pre-show. I love a pre-show battle royal.
Why not have a battle royal? Everybody gets TV time. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Do it.
TBS title #1 contender for the women. TNT title #1 contender for the men. Like, who cares?
Just make a 0-hour battle royal trophy.
I mean, you could pull that Sonic ring out more than once a year, guys. Come on.
There you go.
But we'll be back next week, same bad time, same bad channel. Because Rob, to your point, we're not going anywhere. We keep doing these Wednesday shows here. We do enjoy it. We appreciate you guys joining in for us, giving us some of your time. If you aren't already, like and subscribe down below. Definitely, you can hit that bell. Let you know when we go on. If we do decide to do post shows, you'll get a little notification. So pass it around. Join us next week. Any final thoughts?
Great episode of Dynamite.
All right.
Well done, AEW.
All right.
F&A.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 6 words for you.
I don't even guess anymore.
Two-handed on this one. Sorry, guys.
I didn't know we could use a second hand.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah. Special occasions. We got 6 TV deals, man.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Peace.